Hi, I'm Cheryl McDermott, and yesterday, if you watched my previous vlog post, yesterday morning, it was last minute and I was scheduled to do the Facebook class that I had just created, but I had not submitted it for continuing education credit for our company. And while I was at that training, I was asked to stay, which we had the facility, but I was asked to stay and teach our new software, for the company. And I was prepared because I've been teaching it so often, but I wasn't sure of the changes. It's still in the developmental stage. You know, we launched just a few days ago, and there's still a lot of development going on, and there's things that are doing kind of quirky things. So I wasn't quite ready for that. And what I experienced was we had a great group. Group was under 15. And it's hands-on training, so that was helpful. Computer literacy level from please help me turn on my computer, all the way to what I would consider a power user, somebody that's on the computer all the time and on their phones, technologically savvy. So we had that. There was no assistant yesterday. And how it went was the quirky stuff, it will always be there, and that is not the topic of discussion, but the class flow was good. It was a little bit slower than normal, but I believe that was based on computer literacy. We had some great questions. We had great feedback, some awesome things going on. I did have to change what I normally do, how I normally teach that class a little bit based on the audience. And I think that that's the lesson for yesterday afternoon, is that your training, your courses will always need to be evaluated, and they're always going to need to change and be appropriate for the audience. So although we didn't get through as much of like the website designer that I would have liked, I believe that the information that we covered, they absolutely understood. So the objectives were a little, most people met the objectives, but we didn't get as far into the course. The decision that I am constantly making, and for the other instructors out there, I'm sure you're also constantly making this, is do we want them to really understand the information and take the time for everybody to get it, or do we want to get through a certain amount of information, right? Do we just want to throw the information at them and hope that some of it sticks, or do we want to thoroughly teach? And time frame seems to be the issue. Like, we are supposed to cover everything in topic A, B, C, and D, and we have 3 hours to do that. And yet, if we were to do that, it's more of a presentation. You know, we're presenting material rather than teaching material. Even if they're supposed to be doing it hands-on with us, I would say that it's definitely more of an overview than really getting into to make sure that people understand what they're doing. So yesterday, I tweaked my approach a little bit, and I decided, as I was up in front of the class, I decided while I was in front of the class that it was not as important for me to get through everything than it was for them to understand what we were able to get through. And that changes day to day for me if depending on what the expectations are for me, is how I have to approach the class. Now, because yesterday was a last minute, it wasn't necessarily on the schedule, I was asked to do it in the morning, I felt that I had a little bit more flexibility. So whatever that I could get through, whatever I could really teach would be a little bit more beneficial than just slinging spaghetti at the wall, which is what I call training when it's not really training, when you're doing an overview or presentation. Unfortunately, that is what I'm finding in corporate world and career and technical training, is that a lot of the times it's not necessarily training, it's more presenting because of time frame. We just don't have the time to go in depth and make sure that all the objectives are understood. So let me know if you guys are experiencing this too, where sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, man, I am just a public speaker, and that is exactly where I don't want to be. You know, I didn't get into this profession to be a public speaker. I'm in this profession to help people. So we have to tweak that, and we have control ourselves. You know, are we going to, just like the decision I made yesterday, was I going to go with everything that I felt that needed to be touched on, or that's supposed to be touched on in the class, even though I knew the audience wasn't going to be able to get that? Or do I cater to that audience, which I always feel is the best approach? Not always possible, though. But we have a lot of control as instructors on how we can get that information across and where we prioritize our time. So that was my lesson yesterday, that the difference, again, I'm always thinking about, but the difference between just presenting and doing an overview of topics and really getting in there and making sure that the people in the class really understand. And again, we're dealing with adult learners, and the age range is all over the place. The computer literacy is, again, all over the place. So it's really going to differ from class to class. But the aha moment for me was that I really do control this, and I really can make sure that at least some of the information is understood, and we've accomplished our goal. So thanks. I'll talk to you guys soon.